ass, homie.
48-4 Jersey Town.
Adrian Peterson is loose. Oh my heavens! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Why do you even ponder passing? Let's go to work, huh? Let's go to work! How do you like that?
Five shot, 3, 1, 2, 3, fire!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. My name is Tyler Haig, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick. But I bet I'm not going to be able to hear you right now, Adam, because I don't think I have changed the setting yet. So that's exciting. Hang tight here, Adam. Hang tight, hang tight. We got this. It's cool. Not mute. Where's my setting? There's my setting. And Adam Patrick, hey, welcome, hi.
Hey,
there
great
he
start.
is. Yep, no problem. That was no problem. So, hey.
You know, we're a Vikings podcast. Can't do everything, right?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Hey, that was the new theme. I don't know if you, well, I know you heard, but yeah, there you go, people. For our bad, we waited a week. We needed to wait a week to get the new one. Now we got the new one. We weren't lying. We just had to postpone it a little bit. It's fine. It's no big deal. Adam, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Yep, pretty good.
Pretty good. Sounds
Yep.
good.
Kid's sleeping good. He's a month old now, so doing good. Still eating, sleeping, pooping, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, they
smiles a couple times. Mostly it's because he's letting stuff out.
Yeah,
but
stretching the muscles.
That's good.
So recently, Adam, I'm not sure if you knew this. They played a game, an exhibition all-star game. They call it the Pro Bowl. I'm not even really sure where they play it, Adam. I definitely didn't watch it. Do you care? Did you, for everyone who does care, the NFC won. I guess it was raining. I guess Adam Thielen threw an interception. And I guess Alvin Kamara, unless the radio was lying to me today, Alvin Kamara played defensive tackle for a little while there.
I unfortunately watched almost the whole thing.
Wow.
Because I get paid to do that stuff.
Yes, you do. So
I had to watch and see if anything related to the Vikings happened, and stuff did, but nothing really great. Danielle Hunter got a sack, but it was more like a two-hand touch kind of.
Because they barely tackle, Adam.
Yeah, he was about to destroy Andrew Luck, and the refs quickly blew the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for Andrew Luck. Thielen threw an interception. That was fun. Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, and Saquon Barkley all got time on defense. I think Mike Evans did too. He played a little DB. Got an interception.
I mean, what are you doing?
I'm trying to keep it entertaining, I guess. It's the Pro Bowl. No one really cares.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The players care. I saw or they were saying how the prize is the winner gets $64,000 and the loser gets 36, and I'm like, what does that really mean anything to these guys? It's not like it's $3 million on the line.
No, and it's free money either way. So I know what I would do if I was in that position, and it's
not
really care. Yeah, not really care either way. I wouldn't play extra hard for that money.
No.
I think we need to acknowledge as I guess just sports fans in general, we have now hit a point where the All-Star games, we might need to stop lying to ourselves and just kind of be done with them.
Is the Pro Bowl the worst All-Star game, do you think?
It's got to be close.
Just because it's
because it's the game.
It's pretty
itself,
hard to play at the level that they play a regular, even a preseason game. It's pretty hard to play at that level.
Yes, and it's a violence that you don't.
Because even in basketball, even in the NBA, they can do all that fun stuff, and towards the end, if it's close, they'll get competitive.
Yeah,
and
they
same
can
thing
still play defense, and
with hockey, they're not going to hit each other in hockey, but they're still going to, pass and do all those crazy dekes and stuff like that. And then
hockey though they had to change it to 3-on-3 and two separate games.
I did see that.
Even that is kind of, they are also acknowledging that it's not the same.
And baseball is just we're just going to stay the same.
Baseball is maybe the worst because their All-Star game was so cool for such a long time that when theirs went, and it was the tie game that one year, and then they forced everybody to care because it decided home field in the World Series. Oh my God, it was so dumb. It was the worst idea. And like with the Pro Bowl, you just can't, like you said, with football, it's so hard to have an exhibition game where guys aren't, there's
especially because guys have gotten hurt in the past before.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like super often, but it does happen where teams would rather probably their players not play in a game like that. I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, why don't we just switch it to flag football? Like, what is, then at least we can still see like some crazy catches and jukes and stuff. But
I was going to ask you, what do you think of the like skills competition, the dodgeball idea?
That's not bad. I don't like dodgeball, but like the
like it more than I do though.
The passing stuff and like the catching. Mitchell Trubisky trying to throw the ball. And Adam Thielen looked pretty good throwing the ball actually in the skills or whatever.
Absolutely not. I respectfully disagree with that opinion. He did not look good. He looked like a goofball trying to throw. He's not.
Well, he did good. He did in the catching competition. He did really well.
He did look good in that.
He also had Russell Wilson throwing him the ball. So.
Yeah, didn't that feel a little bit like, oh man?
Well, I felt bad for Russell Wilson because he never has someone like that to throw to. So he's probably like,
that was the best match we could have hoped for, where there was like, not look at how good your life could be elsewhere. It was maybe Russell being like, look at how good our guy is, and you're never going to have him. I hope so. I don't know. I want to like the skills competition. I find myself kind of not caring and being bored with it, even though it's on. And like that should be perfect for Twitter, for Vikings Twitter, for NFL Twitter. Are those highlights boring? I wasn't really that into them. I might be.
Well, the Pro Bowl itself wasn't really that exciting. Usually it's a lot higher scoring. I think it was like 28-7.
Yeah.
Yesterday. That was because it was pouring in Orlando, which is another weird thing why they have it there. I mean, I know Disney World is there.
Yeah, but at one point it was the trip to Hawaii that was like the guys wanted to do that. And now it's in Orlando. So you got a bunch of guys who don't care. They don't want it. Like Orlando? No thanks, dude.
I was thinking today, I'm like, why don't they have it in San Diego? No one's using the stadium out here. It's always nice. It never rains.
Oh yeah.
It's 140 degrees warmer than Minnesota today.
It's ugly out there right now, dude.
It was like 75 today. So I was thinking about that. I'm like, there's a whole stadium they could use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could be their new thing. Once a year, the NFL would be like, hey, sorry, guys, but we'll give you the Pro Bowl.
I was just going to say that. Do you think that's kind of insulting, maybe, that the NFL's
a little
bit.
But
this garbage.
But whatever. I mean, Hawaii doesn't have a team. So
yeah, good point. San Diego isn't a bad idea. Matthew Caller today on the radio had an idea he was talking about using NFL films to like you wouldn't play the game, but you would have NFL films present your Pro Bowl caliber players to the audience, and you would get to learn more about the players on opposing teams and blah, blah, blah. Here's my idea. You play the game, but then you broadcast the NFL films version of it. Mm-hmm. I would watch that. And then you can manufacture drama, because then it doesn't matter
instead of having
if
people there.
Yeah, or doing the live actual game. Like, I mean, you can let people attend.
Jason Witten break the trophy or whatever.
Yeah, I would be willing to put it right up next to the like Ice Bowl kind of episode. The NFL films Ice Bowl, like that. I would care about the Pro Bowl if you present it to me as a half-hour clip about how great the game was.
I think I was watching those in between like commercial breaks for the Pro Bowl because they were on NFL Network, all the Super Bowl ones.
Mm-hmm. Those are
awesome.
Always,
they're
watch those all day.
They're interesting because I'm just like watching the kickers just kick straight on instead of like soccer style.
Mm-hmm.
Just
making them. Was that when the goalposts were still at the front of the end zone? That weirds me when I see that.
I don't remember, but I remembered like it was like Super Bowl 5, and it was like the Colts need to make this kick to win it, and the guy just yeah,
Fred Flintstone
just towed it.
Man, I might be over the Pro Bowl. Do you think there's any way we can improve the game at all? Like, is there a way? Should we give up on it? Is it something we still need to keep doing? Because at this point, so many guys turn it down. It's not even really like an accolade as like a player that even matters, So
there's got to be something. There's got to be some way to make. If you're not going to have the Pro Bowl, just have some other event. If you're going to have like 7-on-7 or something like that.
7-on-7 is not a bad idea.
flag football.
The closer
whatever.
we get to it, the more it's just you can't have him tackle. Just don't ask him to tackle. You can still like an injury, a torn ACL if you're like running around like playing flag football. That I mean,
You can get that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it could happen, but that
gonna-
to me
if it's
is
gonna
like
hap-
something
yeah.
that everybody's gonna live with.
Something like that's going to happen. It's going to happen anyway. So.
Maybe they do the NBA thing where they like pick teams. Maybe you have like
They did that.
Did they? Oh,
They did that. Remember,
yeah,
they
it's
had
over
like
then, dude. It's
Dion's
over.
team and Michael Irvin's
Oh,
team.
yeah, you're totally right. It's
And
over.
that was weird because it was like, who's on whose team? I don't know. Like, I'm used to AFC, NFC. Like, I like keeping it like that, like conference. I don't like when basketball or whatever does pick your team. Like, just stick with the East and the West. And it's always like thrilling when like the East comes back and beats the West because it's so
it's
like
easier to
underrated.
like recognize who the guys are, especially in
Yeah.
football, because it's like when they're out there, it's like I don't know who half of those dudes are. I maybe could recognize Anthony Barr running around because he kind of the way he looks running around, but the rest, I don't know. And if it's not AFC, NFC, I got no
If you wanted to nitpick yesterday, by the way, Anthony Barr technically did allow his coverage to catch a touchdown yesterday, but they.
Of course he did.
But I mean, they weren't really playing good defense.
Was Cooper
There's no
Kupp the one that caught it?
No, there's no blitzing allowed.
Oh, that's one of the rules. Is no.
There's no. You can only You can only play 4-3 defense. Yeah, so
It's over. They got to be done with it. I like the 7-on-7 idea though. Flag football 7-on-7.
How did it get so
I'm into
bad?
that. I was wondering that.
Because I remember in other games like past games when Sean Taylor had that huge hit
Yeah.
on the punter. Is it just like them not really allowing hitting anymore? Is that what's?
I mean, you would, I guess, if maybe that's the way to look at it. If it's a natural progression or regression from the normal NFL game to that exhibition, then I guess if the like heavy hits are lower, then yeah, maybe it just devolves into nobody tackling.
It also doesn't feel like players really care.
Yeah.
Like you go to the Pro Bowl and they're like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, I'm the fourth alternate, so that's cool.
That was where it changed for me, where it seemed like a thing
Right,
that
it was
guys
just like, nope,
wanted
nope, nope.
to do at one point. Yeah, and then everybody started. I think
Yeah,
that changed when they moved it from after the season to the in between the Super Bowl thing.
That in Orlando. Like,
Orlando hurts, man.
like who wants to go to Orlando?
Nobody.
They've had it in like I remember I think they've had it in the sites where the Super Bowl is, like they had it in Phoenix or whatever and some other place. But it's just like just have it in Hawaii. Like I don't understand what was wrong with
That's my problem. Why did you mess with it? It was working just
I
fine.
mean it's obviously comes down to money.
Yeah,
But-
of course. Yeah. Well, and
No,
that's,
it is.
I think that's why is because it's like, well, they kind of created their own monster here because I'm sure they changed it because they thought they could make more money, and now they're not.
Yeah, but if you care about this game, then you should want to invest into it. And I'm sure Hawaii was like, hey, can you fix our field because it's probably in crappy shape? And the NFL's like, no, we're just gonna move.
Yeah, they'll be like, do your taxpayers want to pay for that? And they're like,
Yeah.
no. Well, we're gone then because that's how we build things. Speaking of Pro Bowl caliber players, saddened to hear that Mr. Larry Fitzgerald will not be joining the Minnesota Vikings. Also saddened to hear that the number one free agent on the market, possibly, Adam Vinatieri, also not going to be a Viking.
I think he's still got like good 5 years left. to do,
Dude,
so.
did you that picture of him, man? Like he is like Santa Claus, like
Yeah.
the white beard. It's incredible. But yeah,
He's
man,
45.
Vinatieri, the legend. It's like I would have loved to if he can't kick here, if he can't make kicks. Then
think
no
I
one
made
can.
that-
Then I would
that-
give up hope.
I think I made that joke last year at the time when somebody missed a kick for the Vikings last year. That was like Adam Vinatieri would miss a kick in the Vikings uniform. So.
I wouldn't doubt it at this point, honestly. But I wanted to see it. I really wanted to see it. I know Sebastian Janikowski will miss kicks, but he's my second choice. Nobody's available.
Not Robbie Gold.
I mean, he's okay. Yeah, realistically, Robbie Gold would probably be 1, Dan Bailey 2, and then Janikowski. But Janikowski's where it's at. But yeah, so Larry Fitzgerald. I wanted him to be a Viking. It makes sense that he's going to play his whole career in one place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, what did I say? 10% chance of him coming to Minnesota. So that was about right.
yeah, Yeah.
Little pipe dream.
It's true.
But
It bums me out with players like that where
wish he would have gone a little longer. I could have, written a few more articles about it. And
wound people up a little bit.
Yeah. But, he had to make his decision quickly. So.
Yeah, because he's like a nice dude and he's responsible. He's not trying to lead anybody on. He just wants to get it over. He's just like the perfect Minnesota pro.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely Minnesota nice.
Yeah. So it would have been cool to see him play for the Vikings. But what do you do?
Now they have Treadwell.
Yeah. You know what else I figured out? He was the 18th overall pick too.
Treadwell?
What if they? Yeah, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He was 23rd.
23rd?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
18? Hey, man, I just was like, if the stars were aligning for this to be a sucky pick again from like a superstitious
18,
standpoint.
Randy Moss? No, he's 21, right?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think he's 21.
Was he 22?
But I know,
was it 21 other teams?
No, I think he was pick number 21.
Okay.
But yeah, Treadwell, I think last time I saw he's in Bali taking some selfies. Doing his thing. Getting ready for
living his best life.
Getting ready for the season.
Mm-hmm.
21st overall, Randy Moss, 1998 NFL draft.
Where would you put the percentage on Treadwell being back next season at this point?
I was thinking about this today before we were talking. I think what's probably going to happen is he'll be on the roster for training camp, and then they'll bring in other people or they'll draft people or whatever, and then they'll see, if he's worth keeping around, because it doesn't hurt them or it doesn't help them either in the cap situation if they keep him around. So it's not really a lose situation. So I think they'll keep him around probably, see what happens, a couple preseason games, and see if he makes the roster.
Totally. I'm like right on board with you. I think he's
I would like him to be gone. I'd like
to
traded for
for a 6th-round
ballpoint pen, but
from the Las Vegas,
yeah,
Oakland, Santa Clara Raiders. Where do they play?
I don't know.
That's an issue for a football team.
Might play in San Diego.
Would you go to those games?
No.
Would you support the Raiders? Would you be a Raiders fan if they moved to San Diego?
There's a lot of Raiders fans down here.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Raiders fans everywhere, though.
But that stadium is a piece of garbage, so no, I would not go.
Okay.
Even though the Vikings do play the Raiders next year, but it's in Minnesota. So.
Okay.
They do play the Chargers in LA, so I might go to that game.
It's Mayock. That's right. I was like, what GM were we debating was dumb enough to do that trade? Oh, yeah, the TV guy.
Oh, I did see
could do that trade.
Some article, some comment somebody left this week that, somebody said the Vikings should be like the Raiders and go after like an NFL analyst for their next GM instead of Spielman. They're like, Todd McShay would probably do a pretty good job.
Oh, my God.
What?
Excuse me? Todd McShay, who had
this is the like part of the year round where people just throw anything out. Like, oh, can we trade Stephon Diggs or like have him restructure his contract, or can we have Kirk Cousins restructure his contract because it's not all fully guaranteed.
I heard that one already this year.
Oh, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, have them restructure so that they can.
He doesn't deserve it.
That is the most frustrating take to me. He doesn't deserve it. He signed. Really? That was his thing. He did it. Yeah, he already deserved it.
Would you want like people you work with to be like, oh, you don't deserve your salary?
Well, and here's the other thing. People assume that you're getting contracts for what you're going to do for the length of that contract. Yeah,
that's
you're getting your contract for what you have done already. That's what you've been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, unless you're Kobe, but yeah.
But there are a couple of weird cases that
Favre probably got, at the end of his career, he probably got that. What do you make, $20 million a year with the Vikings?
Yeah, I think was it 18, 20, something like that?
I think it was 20.
You know what's funny is that with Brett Favre comes in, throws an interception, no Super Bowl, comes back the next year. Granted, that was a season from hell, but like nobody ever talks about him being like too expensive. But he was too expensive. He was old. If you think that Kirk Cousins is too expensive, how could you not think that Brett Favre from those 2 years was too expensive?
Well, yeah, and I love the Kirk Cousins. Well, look at his record in against winning teams or whatever. It's like, well, look at a lot of quarterbacks' records against winning teams. It's not good, and then most of the time they win those games because of the whole team. Like this, I got into like a little spat or whatever with some people online about how like Cousins, it was mostly his fault this season for the Vikings record, and I was like, yeah, because he missed those kicks in week 2 against the Packers,
I saw that tweet, yes.
and he gave up 500 total yards to the Rams offense, and
he fumbled.
He fumbled out the goal line went against the Saints. Granted, he did have his share of bad moments, but Vikings were also in a lot of those games because of him.
Yeah, and to look at
and
all
they were
of that,
also one game away from the playoffs.
To look at all of that and say, well, it must be that guy's fault when there's all of those mistakes going on is
and I wouldn't even blame it all on the offensive line either. Like there was parts of the year where the defense they had a bunch of brain farts and didn't know what was going on. Like that first couple of games where they were trying to do new stuff on the defensive side of the ball that ended up costing them, a spot in the playoffs.
Totally. And nobody wants to talk about that because Kirk Cousins got paid a lot of money. And it's just like you need
That's why he was brought there. That's why he was brought there, because to win those games, to put the team on his back, because that's the kind of quarterback he's supposed to be.
I don't even know how to have that argument anymore. Like I'm nearly incapable of.
Oh yeah, it's dragged out. It's gonna go on as long as Keenum should still be here and all that fun stuff. Or re-sign Teddy. Let's get him back here too.
Duh. Moving on. Other former Vikings, Blair Walsh. He's trying out to see.
Speaking of scapegoat,
kicker in Chicago. Are you for or against this move?
Oh, obviously we're all for it, but
100% for
but they did end up signing someone else, but he did get a tryout.
Oh man, did they? They sign?
Just some rookie kicker or whatever. So he got a tryout, which is interesting because they just lost a playoff game because of a kicker missing a kick. So they brought in the guy. He's like the poster child
for missing that kick. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice. They're probably just like, he's available, so let's bring him in. See what, because he didn't play it all last year. He got a couple workouts. I think he worked out for the Redskins and some other teams, but not since 2017 with the Seahawks. He hasn't been in the league. So
that's got to be a tough reputation to shake, as being the kicker who can't make the big kick, and then he bounce around to a couple of teams after. That's tough. Yeah, that's too bad that he's not going to be in Chicago long term. I would have liked that.
Yeah, could have had some. He could have been pointing to the sideline twice a year after making some extra points.
Dude, was a preseason game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, does it? It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than a kicker who misses big kicks pointing at the sideline.
Yeah, you're already labeled like a head case, and then you do something like that. I don't even think Daniel Carlson would do something like that.
No,
he'd be too scared of Zimmer anyways to do that.
He wouldn't. He wasn't going to ruffle those feathers. He just wanted to make kicks. That's, I think, why I felt bad for that kid, is because he was never anything. He just was just trying to make them, and he just
he's a rookie.
Just couldn't. Yeah. I was going to ask you another question about kickers, and now I can't remember what it was. Blair Walsh. I mean, what more can you say about? Oh, that's what it was. So Prefer's thing. Did we talk about that a little bit? I feel like we did. Where
that he didn't he was too heavy or too muscly.
He had stopped. He went vegan or something.
Yeah.
And that was why he didn't get the distance on his kicks, was because he was weak because he wasn't eating enough red meat.
Yeah, there's a lot of UFC fighters. There's a lot of UFC fighters that are vegan, so I'm not gonna go along with that theory.
That was when I was at my I'm glad it worked out the way it did, and he's moving on, and the Vikings can move on. But that was where I was at my peak anger for people defending Mike Prefer, was when he was like, "Well, Blair Walsh missed because he was losing a bunch of weight.
Yeah,
And that was
people do that, like when they just make up stuff like out of the blue, like just to like feel like they need to do that to cover for themselves.
Yeah,
Just like
dude.
you could just say like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, probably a technique thing. You'd have to ask him because I'm not sure. We tried to fix it. That's the answer. We tried to fix it. It didn't work. But instead, it was his eating habits, bro.
I know the best.
Seriously? So yeah, bye, Prefer. I am looking.
He
forward
doesn't like
to...
cheeseburgers. That's why those kicks.
Totally. This is yes. And so like, look at his entire track record. Guy's a special teams coordinator who cannot get his kickers to make the big kick ever. Has a job forever because he's got a punt returner who doesn't fumble and gets like 2 yards, which is, don't get me wrong, I like Micah Sherrills. And then says that he wants all the gays to be on an island and nuke it until it glows. And then says that Blair Walsh is missing kicks because of his eating habits. What were we doing all these years with him in charge of that portion of our team?
Yeah. Well, it's also fair to not assume that he's the only person in the NFL like that.
Definitely. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Football is very popular in the South, which is known for its open-mindedness, I guess you could say.
That was a very good way to say that, Adam. Very well handled. Yeah, football. Yeah, locker room
but it's
talk.
weird. He's
locker
from
rooms, football, locker rooms.
Rupert from Ohio, but Ohio is pretty conservative too. So
yeah. Well, and he also grew up in an era where it was totally common to use types of slurs. That was just like how you spoke. So I'm not. But
doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right, and it also doesn't make him that great of a special teams coach. And
what we're trying to say is we're not sad to see him go.
Exactly. Who's the new guy again? That Maloof character? I don't know. I still don't know how to say his name. I hope he does well.
Marvan Maloof.
Maloof.
Sure.
I like your name, Bub.
We'll know it as soon as Zimmer gets pissed off by him or something.
Yeah, right. As soon as Zimmer's talking about the kicker missing a kick, which is inevitable, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of other inevitable, terrible Vikings things, the Vikings are included in some list about greatest Super Bowls that never happened because the teams never got there. Of course, the Vikings are part of that. This was the 98 team, which would have been against Denver, which was at that time Elway, Davis, and all those characters. That would have been an incredible Super Bowl, I think. Shannon Sharp, thank you. Steve Atwater, I believe, was on that team. He's one of my favorite players, like ever of all time. Oh,
Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah, Ed McCaffrey, dude. Almost forgot about Ed McCaffrey and the tiny shoulder pads, the kids' shoulder pads. Before it was cool. Before it was the thing that they did in Philly. Well, I mean, we've talked a little bit about like the 98 team. We haven't got like crazy in depth. Maybe that's something that we should do over this offseason.
One podcast.
Yes, just dedicate one episode to discussing where we were.
The greatness.
Yeah, the greatness, the heartbreak, et cetera, et cetera.
You can do that. We'll have some time.
98. I think this is what makes it the most painful Vikings loss ever for me, is that team was so different and so good and so, like, I hate when people use, like, transcendent. They were like, they changed what people were doing.
Oh, the Vikings?
Yes, in 1998, offensively. People, like, it wasn't the same after that. And they didn't get a Super Bowl out of it. And I think that's why it breaks my heart the most.
Yeah. Well, the Broncos and Vikings were, I think they were the first and second scoring offenses that year. So that would have been interesting to see. Obviously, the Falcons didn't do a whole lot against the Broncos that week. They might have been a little distracted and trying to, pay for some stuff.
Can you remind me what was their running back was good? What was his
Jamal
name?
Anderson.
Jamal Anderson, thank you. The
Dirty
Bird.
Bird.
What else? Who was on that team? Why were they good? What got them there? I know
Chris
he was
Chandler.
Really
Chris Chandler was the quarterback. Terrence Mathis was the receiver.
Okay.
Jesse Tuggle was a linebacker. Who was the cornerback was Ray Buchanan.
Right.
Yeah, he had the dog collar thing or whatever. He said he would guarantee a win. Dan Reeves was their coach. Morton Anderson was the kicker, obviously.
Yeah, I remember that. God, I remember him.
So yeah, I think that was really '97 was really the first year I remember stuff about the Vikings. I think they played like the Giants in the playoffs that year and upset them, and then lost to the 49ers. But then yeah, '98 was like my first year. I was like, oh yeah, here we go, Super Bowl.
Love the Vikings, man.
And then nothing.
Heartbreak City.
First experience of heartbreak. Been getting my heart broken ever since. By the Vikings.
By the Vikings. It's nice of you to specify.
As well.
Yeah, man. That team, that game, that was...
It was.
What else can you say? It was horrible.
It was the number one game on that list. That was like the biggest or the best Super Bowl matchups that never were. And I think the Vikings and Colts from 2009 was like number 5 on the list.
That would have been a good game, too.
So, yeah, because it would have been like Favre versus Manning.
They probably would have thrown 800 times in that game. It would have been wonderful.
Yeah, it was in Miami, and I think...
Wasn't it raining that whole game?
No, that was the Bears,
and
one.
Yep, you're
Colts.
Right. You're totally right.
But I think it was in Miami. It was in Miami? Yeah, it was in Miami. I don't know. They didn't go anyways.
I think it was in Miami because '98 was also in Miami.
Yep.
And I think that was...
Miami or Tampa, one of those.
This team has destroyed me because I'm like, all I do is like look for like, oh, that was the same time that happened. Well, they're gonna lose. Duh.
This is a sad time of year for Vikings fans because we get to see all the old highlights of how they messed up every year.
Yeah, man, you're totally right. It is, and a lot of these are pretty fresh. So, like, man, when the Saints were playing, that was real time.
Let's show the 2009 championship game 5 times.
Let's show all the Vikings. Terrible things. Terrible things. Yeah, man, it is a tough time of year to be a Vikings fan. Someday, Lord willing, we'll be celebrating.
Yep. I think whenever they show overtime games in the playoffs, I would show '98. And 2009 was overtime too.
Yes, it was.
So,
I forgot that until recently.
The Vikings have missed and made the playoffs every other year, and they missed the playoffs last year. So we can, let's see. They missed, and then they won the division, lost the wild card, and then they missed, won the division, went to NFC Championship. They missed, and so next year, we're
climbing. We're climbing.
Keep going. It points to the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I don't know where the Super Bowl is next year, but
knocking on wood. Oh God, I just heard it too.
Is it Jackson?
To remember. Let's talk a little bit. Where is it? Say it again.
Is it Miami? That'd be hilarious if it was Miami.
Oh my God! Please don't. You should look it up. If it's Miami, then the episode might be over, so we don't jinx anything any farther, so we don't jinx anything. It's important when we're in this position.
It is.
No.
So yeah, Heartbreak City. Here we go.
Oh man, that is really, really too bad. Let's talk a little bit about the Vikings. What the Vikings will look like in 2019 on their way to heartbreak, on the way to Miami. Salary cap moves, guys who are getting paid too much. There are a couple of candidates. We've discussed them a little bit previously. But Everson Griffin sure feels like he's got to be at the top of that list, right? Or darn close to it. Do you think there's a restructure there, or do you think this is a cut loose and go, or do you think there's a way that Everson Griffin is on this football team next season?
Well, I think they're going to try and restructure him, obviously, because they like him. He's been there for a while. He's been there his whole career. I know Zimmer loves him. A lot of the guys do on that team. Mm-hmm. So I think at first they'll try and restructure. He's not going to like it, but, they need to make cap room because I think they have around like $6 million right now. Yeah. So they need some spending money even to like sign their rookies.
I was just going to say to sign the draft class.
But his contract next year, like straight up release him, that it frees up the most cap room of any contract the Vikings have on the books next year. I think it would free over $10 million in cap space if they let him go. So I'm guessing they'd probably try and restructure, maybe just reduce that maybe to like 5 or 6 cap hit next year. Maybe find a way, maybe sign him to like an extension where he gets like a signing more his money in a signing bonus this year, and then there's an option for next year, and they can do whatever after that.
Yeah.
But I think they'll try and restructure it first, and if they can't come to an agreement, then he might be on his way out.
Yeah, that would be sad to see, given what he went through this past season. Because it feels so. It's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth if he had a bad season with that, and then they let him go in that off season. That would bum me out. However,
it's the NFL.
It's the NFL, and when you're paying a guy that much money, he has to be more productive than what we saw from Griffin this past season. It's sad that that's the reason he was not there and he was not playing and was not productive.
He just wasn't really. When he came back, he
was not the
didn't
same
seem like himself. No.
And I hope he gets back to that point. But if I'm a Vikings front office dude and I'm seeing that has to be the first number.
You have trying. It was going to be. I think it was probably going to be that way, no matter what.
Either way,
no matter if he played well or not this season, they were probably going to look into restructuring him just because of how much he's getting paid next year and how much little cap room they have. But they can still free up a bunch of cap room by like getting rid of guys like Sendejo and Remmers. And Treadwell's not going to do anything, but you can just get rid of him anyways. Restructuring Rudolph's contract, restructuring Reef.
Reef is huge.
They're not going to be able to free up a ton, but if they play their cards right, they can probably free up enough cap space to where they have like 20 to 30 million this year, and maybe sign like a couple, not big name free agents, but just guys that can help them depth wise, even even depth wise, just better than guys like Tom Compton or Mike Remmers. Just,
do you think from a just offensive line stance, do you think it's better for them to draft or go the free agent route? Do you think it's a combination of both? Do you think I would like to see a combination of both, but I'm already seeing people prepping for the draft and basically saying if they don't draft an offensive lineman with this 18th pick, I'm going to lose my mind. And I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I don't think there's, from what I've seen, I don't think there's, as based on what they're looking for, which is probably interior offensive linemen, there aren't a whole lot that are worth using their first round pick on.
Yeah, and I think that happened to him last year during the draft too, was where they got there and were like, there's not a lineman worth taking here when Mike Hughes is looking at it.
Yeah, and then they all flew off the board.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen.
There were guys. Yeah, there were guys, but they probably didn't think that they were going to all go off the board as soon as they made their pick. But they could have tried to trade up too.
Yeah.
So that's not, they could have done stuff to avoid that. But yeah, I wouldn't freak out if they don't draft an offensive lineman in the first round, especially because drafting offensive lineman in the first round is not even a guarantee either. Like, there's been some good ones the past couple of years, but they've mostly been in like top 10, 15 picks.
I was going to say top 10. Yeah. Are the guys who've been really good. And then you're Khaliling again.
Yeah.
Possibly, and you don't want to do that.
No, I'm not even really a big fan of drafting or like using high draft picks on offensive linemen. Like not using super late picks like Spielman likes to do, like 6th or 7th round, which is just like a crapshoot anyways.
Yeah.
But 3rd or 4th round, I don't think is, you find some pretty good guys in there. I feel like found Pat Elflein, Brian O'Neill, the 2nd round pick.
Yeah. I think the 2nd round is a good spot. 2nd, 3rd round is a good way to go. I think anytime you're getting a 1st round pick who can't step in and start, that's such a stress. That's such an unneeded.
I still expect Elflein to be a lot better next year. I'll actually have an off season to like lift weights and improve his strength and stuff. Brian O'Neill is going to be better. He'll be stronger.
Who was injured all year that's coming back? Easton is coming back, is he not?
Cornelius. Easton might come back. He might not. Depends how much he'll cost, probably. There's that. There's who's the guy whose name we couldn't pronounce last year? He got.
Oh yeah, Avion Collins.
Yeah. He'll be back. They liked him.
Avion. I forgot about that guy. Yeah.
Cornelius Edison.
Yes, Cornelius Edison stepped in the preseason and played very well last
Danny
year.
Isidora, it'll be his 3rd year. So they've got a bunch of guys where, they get the right offense. They really, what they need to worry about is getting a good offensive line coach in there more than I feel like trying to draft some guy in the first round or going after the top offensive line free agent. They need to worry about coaching because that has a lot to do with, how good they are. The play calling has a lot to do with how successful the offensive line is. I don't care.
Play calling and how fast does your quarterback get the ball out of his hand?
I don't care how good enough an offensive line you have. If you're running Norv Turner's offense, you're going to have a hard time blocking people.
Blocking for that long, yes. And look at, I can't remember who made this comparison recently, but somebody out there.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots, Belichick, it's always fourth-round dudes, guys they're grabbing off the scrap heap, and then they plug them in, and they coach, they put them in positions to be successful, and they have a quarterback who can get the ball out fast enough where you don't need to be blocking for 7 seconds. I think that's just as important, like you said, as getting – you could have the number one overall pick, the greatest offensive lineman in the history of offensive linemen. You could draft him tomorrow. That doesn't mean your offensive line is going to be able to block for 7 seconds in the NFL in 2019.
Has a team ever gone from worst to first because of they drafted a left tackle?
I just don't remember it ever happening.
I don't think so. No. So, I mean, they're good to have, but I do kind of feel like offensive linemen are maybe a little overrated to draft in the first round, especially so high.
Excuse you? You just lost a lot of
fans. All those offensive line fans I had. Sorry.
No, man, we need to prepare ourselves because this is real. This is going to be like the narrative.
Oh, the next 4 months, yeah.
Yeah, is going to be all.
Those are going to be like
drafting alignment.
The most viewed articles I write are going to start with blah, 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 offensive line.
Yeah. I just get frustrated because there are so many different ways to alleviate that issue to help your offensive line get better, and people seem like there's just like the LeBron James of offensive linemen is going to come to them in the 18th pick of this year's draft, and it just ain't like that.
Well, yeah, and you go back to, look at the Colts, and everyone's like, oh, look at their offensive line, how much better they did. Well, also look that they got a new head coach who changed the offense.
Yes, he did. And it helps that your quarterback's really good and not injured and sitting on the sideline all season.
Yeah,
that helps, too.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good quarterback, or, pretty good.
I think getting Kubiak in there, having Stefanski in there, him knowing what Zimmer wants, I think, the Vikings don't need to have the 10th best offensive line. Just middle of the pack. That's all.
Totally. That's exactly right. Yeah,
enough time to run the ball.
We've basically been saying this for 3 years. Is the offensive line doesn't have to be great. It just has to not lose games for them.
Yeah.
And it's still happening where they still are losing games. Moving on. Shifting gears here a little bit. Former Vikings. In the WWE, the Royal Rumble, Adam, happened recently. There's a former Viking involved. His name, Brock Lesnar. Can't stand him. He's from Minnesota.
No?
No, not as. I'm sure Brock Lesnar himself is a nice guy.
Isn't he from North Dakota?
Maybe. He wrestled at the U. He's been around.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He's got the one of us status for sure, which is not an easy thing to get at.
Yeah.
The one of us status. But Lesnar has it, and I don't like him as a heel in the WWE. I think he's a stupid wrestler, and I hate him, and I wish he would give up the belt because he's never
part-timer.
Yeah, man, part-time. It's garbage. And then you got a guy like Finn Balor who's the bomb.
That was good.
Let him.
The way they used him. They made people actually think that he was going to win.
That's what I'm saying. I was in. Maybe the match of that whole thing though was who's her face, Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey. That was really.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, they thought that you did a good job. I don't like Ronda Rousey very much. She looks like she's faking. Everybody else looks like they're doing their job, but Ronda Rousey kind of looks like she's trying to be a professional.
Oh yeah. Well.
But,
I thought the women's Royal Rumble was probably the best part of the night.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most exciting, way more than the men's Royal Rumble.
I fell asleep.
Which it seems to be disappointing pretty much every year for the past 5 years, because they like to just have all these scrap wrestlers that they never use, and they're like, oh, you deserve a spot in the Royal Rumble. Even though you're just going to get thrown out in 2 seconds.
That's the thing, is it's this incredible, amazing opportunity, but then they'll throw Hornswoggle in for 2 seconds and have him get tossed.
That was fun.
Well, yeah, I mean that's.
But then they will. Would they have one old wrestler last night, Jeff Jarrett, who what was he wearing, by the way?
Oh, that's his thing. But it looked better when he was a little more.
Yeah, it looked like he was like he went to the wrong house for a swingers party or something. it did not like. Maybe don't wear that one because I've seen him in other like ring gear before.
Yeah, and it's not
like you look normal.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if maybe that was the thing he wore when he first.
He did wear that in the '90s.
Yeah, he did.
He was when he
that was how he debuted.
Jacked and he had long hair.
Yeah, and it was that frustrated me. That whole event was kind of annoying because it started at 6 p.m.
Also, when
here.
He have a guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, so it went late for you.
Super late. And it was like after 10 o'clock and the Rumble hadn't started. And I'm like, all right, I'll wait it out. And then I had to watch Elias and Jeff Jarrett gab for like 15 minutes. And I was like, I'm never going to make it. And of course,
yeah, I guess I did realize that last night because it ended at like 9 o'clock my time. And I'm like, this has been going on for a while.
A really, really long time.
And they had a pre-show.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Nakamura and Rusev, that was a pre-show.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
No, me neither, but if that was the headline of your pre-show, that was a pretty good event. Not that many hours ago, though, Adam. That's too many hours. Other notable former football players playing professional wrestlers. I guess Roman Reigns is like the only other one. He's out because he's
Baron Corbin.
Sick.
Yeah, he played for the Cardinals.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep, he did. Bobby Lashley? No, he looks like he would.
He does look like he would. Was he a UFC guy for a minute?
He was an MMA kind of guy, whatever.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's been a bunch of guys from the NFL that go. Babatunde.
Oh yeah, that's
he's
right.
Still in there.
Where is he? Wasn't he? He's in
NXT. He's in NXT still.
Is he?
He's still hanging out down there. He's probably waiting for his opportunity to like sneak up on somebody and
can't wait.
Kill them.
Can't wait. Oh man. Well, it's safe to say that we won't be starting a wrestling podcast anytime soon.
No.
After that little bit of the Royal Rumble there. Good talk, but
it's good.
Maybe,
this is like
yeah, let's shift back to football. Okay, Super Bowl. Do you know there was a big game coming up here, Adam, in the future?
Yeah.
Who first?
Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. With Maroon 5.
Oh.
Woo!
Can't go wrong with Maroon 5 halftime show.
All those musical artists from Atlanta. Maroon 5.
Loving it. Yeah, dude, Outkast, like all, and any of those? Nope. Maroon 5.
Usher.
They were the only ones who didn't care if we weren't going to pay them.
Could have got Chingy.
Yeah, dude, could have got Chingy. Ludacris.
Jermaine Dupri.
Did you say Usher already?
Yeah. We
Dupree.
got all those guys.
Yeah, dude, Criss Cross. I think that was because Dupree, Criss Cross, they were like right on the
same.
I mean, well, that's a long time ago, but you could
They're
probably
hating.
a lot of options. The point is, there are a lot of options for Atlanta artists. Then they chose Maroon 5. I don't like it. However, Gladys Knight is doing the national anthem. That will be dope. I am very excited for that. As far as the game is concerned, who do you think is going to win this football game, and why?
Now that I saw that Tom Brady isn't going to retire, it's just annoying if they win. Because he wants to play till he's 45, whatever.
How old is he now?
41.
Jesus. I believe him at this point. That's like Adrian Peterson. It's like, all right, man.
It was a very. He was asked, and it was a very quick no. He was like 0% chance I'm retiring.
Jeez.
That's great. They'll be back in the Super Bowl next year.
Fun.
I'll go with the Rams. That defensive line against Patriots. I think has Wade Phillips ever coached a team in the Super Bowl? I don't. Was he the Broncos defensive coordinator? I think he might have.
I don't know. I
think
feel
he
like
was.
He was. Yeah, I feel like he was.
When they recently won.
Yeah, the most recent one.
Von Miller and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he was.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a good game, I feel like. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way.
it's impossible for me to pick against New England. They're probably cheating right now and gaining an advantage that nobody else is going to have.
Have you seen that little kid that did the science experiment or for a science fair? How he won because he proved that the Patriots cheat. That was his
Shut up! That was the thesis.
His presentation. Yeah, he won.
I can't wait to read it.
He's he was on I think he was on the Le Batard show today or whatever.
Good.
And they're like, "Who'd you beat?" And he was like, "Oh, some other kid had he put Mentos in a Coke bottle." And
it's pretty cool, but
classic.
Oh man, yeah, Mentos in the Coke. That's classic. They're probably cheating. They're probably going to win. I'm tired of it too, and I wanted Tom Brady to retire, but
if he doesn't retire, can we at least get Belichick to retire?
Yeah,
he's getting old, right?
I would love to see that. I don't think either of them. I think both of them are too stubborn, and the one is waiting for the other to go, and they're both going to play until they're 500, and then not 500 years old, but when they have a record of 500.
I mean, they're not. It's not like they're doing horrible.
No, they're doing great. They seem
for
to
the last 5 Super
very
Bowls.
successful, and I would, yeah. Well, I can't.
Can they just?
That's what I'm saying. I can't pick against them. I just have done it for too many years.
I feel like they should switch the divisions though. Trade the Patriots to the AFC North for the Bengals, and then see how they play in that division.
Yeah, I bet they'd not have as many number 1 seeds or first round buys. Or I know they didn't have that this year, but.
Nope.
Yeah, man, it is frustrating. It's too long. 19, 18 years, 20 years is too long.
It was fun, the first year they got there, they were they're the underdog too this year, by the way, don't you know?
Oh my God. Don't even.
We made 4 out of the 5 last Super Bowls, but everyone's
no one
underestimating.
believes in us. Yeah, it's
what?
Literally all we've said for the last 6 years is how you can't
everyone
bet against the Patriots.
Everyone picks the Patriots in their preseason predictions. So
Right.
Patriots versus whoever.
I was going to say that. I think maybe the most disappointing thing to me about this Super Bowl is that you could have picked this at the beginning of the season.
I'm sure a lot of people did.
I'm sure a ton of people did. And I didn't want to see it then, and I don't want to see it now, Adam. But dang it, I'm going to watch.
Some people picked the Patriots against the Vikings, but
I don't know anybody who
they're apparently they're a little too big of a risk for them.
Yeah. They were the sexy pick, the Vikings, for a hot minute there.
Yeah, never turns out well.
No, not good for the Vikings when the Vikings just aren't sexy. So anytime it feels like they're the sexy anything, just ignore it.
Purple is good, but purple and yellow,
not sexy. Yeah. Have you seen Prince wear purple? Of course you have. Have you seen Prince wear purple and gold? No, you have not, because that's not sexy. Prince is sexy. That's not sexy. Yeah, man. I think Tom Brady's gonna. I just think they're gonna win. I can't pick against him at this point. Side question.
I don't know though, because 2 Super Bowls they almost lost to the Falcons. They were losing by a lot.
That's true.
Last year they lost to the Eagles.
Just lost to the Eagles. Wasn't the one before
Tom
that
Brady?
one close too?
Tom Brady has not been playing well in the playoffs. So I know you don't want to bet against them, but now is a good opportunity to beat them. I feel like
I would say,
especially this Patriots team, it's not as good as past. I feel like they kind of snuck into the second round bye this year. I feel like,
which is hilarious to say. That how do you sneak into? But no, you're right though, because they aren't 16-0. They're not. Crazy dominant through the whole season. This is definitely the most vulnerable Patriots team
which is why it would have been perfect for the Vikings to be in the Super Bowl.
I can't disagree with that. I think this would have been a good year to get in there.
But they looked on the schedule and they're like, "Oh, the Super Bowl's in Miami next year, so we have to wait."
Do we got to wait? This is our off year. Yep, it is. Yep. Miami next year sounds great. I cannot believe that it's. That just is
2019 too, by the way.
Oh my god!
So what? Every 10 years in Miami?
I could. I'm gonna, as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna start doing research. Look for the article in a couple of days. It's just gonna be here are all the reasons 2019 is.
Might steal it.
It's gonna be terrible, but great. Here's the other thing: as a Vikings fan, I'm excited because even though I know the heartbreak is coming, there's gonna be tons of fun moments throughout the whole season that we get to celebrate, and then of course the inevitable car crash at the end. But that's part of being a Vikings fan, you know? So you got to enjoy the stuff in the middle.
Maybe, you know, to get rid of the curse, it'll be like the Vikings in the NFC Championship. They'll like get a touchdown, need an extra point to tie the game. Time's running out. They don't go for the kick; they go for 2.
Yeah, and win it.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds good to me. I'm interested in that.
Mike Zimmer's like, I'm not letting the kicker mess it up for me again.
Bleep it. We're going for it. And they do,
also,
and they win.
Also,
and then Zimmer gets carried off by his players out like it's a
Yeah. One last thing on Mike Zimmer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people calling for his job or whatever this year for some reason.
Yep.
I was watching, just finding clips for the intro or whatever, and I watched an interview he did. It was like the season after he had all his eye surgeries. How, like, he was getting asked, like, you know, do you like care that you might not be able to see out of your right eye? And he's like, no, it's not about me. You know, it's, you know, I'm here to, you know, deliver the city of Minnesota championship. And I'm like, you want to fire this guy?
Yeah. Literally said he'd give you his eyesight for a Super Bowl, but you want to get rid of him.
Yeah, but let's get rid of him.
Totally. And bring in like Mike McCarthy or one of these other goofballs.
Yeah. Somebody that Sean McVay breathed on.
For real. Oh, speaking of like dysfunctional, have you read the I think it was maybe Sports Illustrated that did
ESPN on the Browns?
The Browns.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Are you surprised?
No, but to see it in that detail and that kind of dysfunction from like grown adults like running a $1 billion entity is just shocking to me.
Well, owners should never ever really be involved in like personnel decisions or coaching.
Decisions.
No. Especially when you've hired guys to take care of that, and yet you're still like, no, we should go with somebody else. I know I'm paying you guys. I'm paying you guys all this money to do this work for me, but I'm just going to go against your opinion.
Micromanage is so hard that he has not been able to see through a regime yet. Like, has not been able to let any vision become completed because he gets impatient.
Well, the best part was about Teddy Bridgewater. No, he didn't like his handshake, so he didn't want to draft him. Wanted Johnny Manziel instead.
Didn't feel right. I like this kid. He's got the moxie. Or what about the they did their hashtag on Twitter led to the like pornography being projected onto the walls. It's like, whoops. Wow, man.
Yeah, only the Browns would do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I was so into it. What an awesome read for how dysfunctional that. Although I will say this. Now that they got Hugh Jackson out of there, and it sounds, and also the article kind of tied it up nicely, was it kind of sounds like they might have it maybe together a little.
Same owner still.
It's still the same guy, but
so let's not act like he's turned a new leaf.
It feels like maybe with this coach, maybe he's figuring it out. We shouldn't laugh at the Browns. It's not nice.
Because
low hanging fruit, and I don't.
Yeah,
but
it makes you feel good about the Vikings, huh?
It does, which is so sad, but it really does.
Because like all their
that
dysfunction
could be what we're podcasting about.
All their dysfunction is like people's legs falling off, or people dying, or people losing their eye.
Yeah,
like, it's not like that. It's not self-inflicted.
Porn on the walls.
Yeah, that's pretty
Hashtag.
Good.
I just like you can't even make it up.
I would love for that to happen at like the new Vikings facilities, and for Zimmer to walk in and be like, "What the hell?
What in God's name?" Oh my God!
I saw his daughter posted on like Instagram today of a text message exchange between her and Zimmer, where he used the acronym AF.
No,
and she was like, we taught him so well. She's like, it's cold AF outside.
Mike Zimmer, it's cold AF, or however the kids say it.
Tweet that.
Tweet that. Do you, before we go, Adam, do you want to give a prediction on for the Super
National Anthem link?
Yeah.
Oh, the score.
Yeah. Well, we can do National Anthem link too.
So many props.
I saw one was Maroon 5 singer guy. What color is his shirt going to be?
That's so stupid.
I mean,
because can't he like bet on that?
Yeah. And he could tell a bunch of his friends to bet on it too.
Yeah.
I'm wearing black shirts. Go put some
like,
money. That's why they cap
insider
it, I guess,
trading?
at $100. $100 is the max bet on those because of stuff like that. Because it's pretty.
Yeah, because like Beyonce or whatever can be like, oh, what's the first song? What's like the rarest odds? And we'll do that.
And we'll do that one. Yeah. Or hey, Beyonce, if I know I'm just a production guy around here, but if you could please do this song first, make me a lot of money. I wouldn't have to.
I'd have a good night.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Dinner's on me.
Yeah, totally. Beyonce.
I'll go Rams. We'll go like 31-28 with a last-second kick to win the game. Just like how the Patriots beat the Rams for their first Super Bowl.
Poetic. I see what you did there. I'm going to go New England, and I'm going to go 48. I do think it's going to be a good game. So I'm going to go
48?
Yep, 48 to 41. 48-41. See you next week.
Wow.
I don't know how they're going to get there. Don't ask me if there's going to be safeties involved or strange scoring.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the Senior Bowl, but I didn't really pay attention to it. So
you know,
there we go.
I tried, and I had a tough time with it. So
there's some interesting guys in there, but nothing really too interesting until we get closer to the draft.
Yeah, we got so much time for draft stuff yet to come, so we'll be all right.
Season's not even over.
No, man, it's great. It's gonna be good.
Oh, and we got the award ceremony on Saturday to see if Kyle Rudolph wins Man of the Year.
Oh yeah, man.
See if Kirk Cousins wins MVP. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
What?
We will see if he wins. We'll see then.
See if Mike Hughes gets Rookie of the Year.
That would be cool. Probably not going to happen either, but that one may be more likely than the Kirk Cousins as the MVP one, though.
Daniel Hunter, Defensive Player of the Year.
That would be cool.
Not going to happen because Aaron Donald plays in the NFL too.
It turns out they have the same. They're both qualified for that, but the one more.
Vikings could have drafted Aaron Donald, but it's okay.
Yeah, no big deal.
They went with Anthony Barr, so that worked out.
Yeah, it's currently working out as of now because he's still on the roster. We'll see how that.
That was another fun argument on Twitter this week too.
The Barr thing.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
That they could have drafted Aaron Donald instead of Anthony Barr. People were like, oh, they drafted Sharif Floyd. That's why they didn't get Aaron Donald. And I'm like, yeah, because they needed Mike Hughes too.
Yeah, that's a tough argument to make. Taking anybody.
It's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, easy. All right, but I will talk to you next week. Skol Vikes.
All right. Skol.